Good morning, children. You are welcome to lesson number 7, The Last Leaf by O. Henry. This lesson is presented by your English teacher K. Jalal, and it is presented through Eden English. Therefore, let us simply learn through Eden English. Here we start. Let us continue. Now, my dear children, first let us see the title of this lesson. The title is The Last Leaf. So, when I ask you the question, my dear children, what is the tone of this lesson? Then, what will be your answer? The tone may be one L, means light. L means light. Another one is S. S means serious. Therefore, the tone may be very light, means humorous, means comic. Tone may be very serious, very grave, or it may be tragic, it may be pathetic, it may be sorrowful. Now from this title, The Last Leaf. So आपको कैसा लगता है कि ये जो theme होगा, what will be the theme? This theme will be a happy note or a sad note, a theme of sad note. Now, my dear children, this actually refers to what? Something very sad, something very pathetic, something very monotonous, something very dreadful. The last leaf. मतलब last का मतलब क्या है? इसके बाद कोई नंबर नहीं होता है. ओके? तो इसमें एक चीज वाला आपको दिखाई देगा कि there will be counting down. Counting down will be there. Counting down. How this the counting down would start? 15, 14, 13. Like that. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Means in this way, what happened? Your last moment comes. So my dear children, this lesson is a very important lesson. So in this lesson, we will get to know about the writer or the author. We'll get to know about his way of writing. We'll get to know about the title of this lesson. We'll get to know about the introduction, the thread of the theme, means various themes that are related to this lesson. We'll see the summary. We'll see the main point, and we'll also make the review of the lesson just by asking the multiple choice question, and the multiple choice question will be helping you to prepare yourself for the exam. Now, my dear children, my sincere suggestion is that when you are going to prepare for the multiple choice question, the best idea is that you go through the lesson, read it line by line, know the unfamiliar words, and in this way you become expert. So now, let us go to the last leaf. So this lesson was written by O. Henry. First we will go to the author, and after that slowly and gradually in a systematic manner we will continue. Therefore, let us go. Let us continue. My dear children, so this lesson is written by O. Henry. So this is the pen name or the pseudonym. This is the pen name or the pseudonym. P-S-E-U pseudo N-Y-M. This is the pseudonym. The pseudonym of whom? Of the writer, that will come to know later. Now, he was born in the year 1862 and died in the year 1910. Was an American short story writer. Therefore, this lesson also is a short story. So, can you tell what is the speciality of the short story? What is the feature of the short story? What is the distinctive form of the short story? The peculiarity or the distinctive form of the short story is that it ends abruptly. So in the language of Rabindranath Tagore, shesh hoyo huluna, means as if something more, if something more is added, then there is no harm in it. This sort of sense is implied towards the end of the lesson. And our writer also has this characteristics, because our writer O. Henry also made a twisting or an abrupt ending. Means all of a sudden the ending will occur. Therefore, two of his most famous stories are The Gift of the Magi and The Ransom of the Red Chief. So he wrote two most famous storybook, one The Gift of the Magi and the other one The Ransom of the Red Chief. So his stories reflect his own experience in Texas and Newark and include plot twist and unexpected change into the plot. So when we make an analysis of the writing of O. Henry, then you can find that he talks about his own experience in Texas, his own experience in the New World, when at the evening time of his life, and it also talks about the twist of the plot or unexpected change in the plot or the storyline of the story. Therefore, let us continue. Here we go. So, my dear children, this is the picture of O. Henry. This is the picture of O. Henry, and his full name was William Sidney Porter. His full name was William Sidney Porter. William Sidney Porter. This is the full name. He was born. Once again, let us remember these dates are very important in many of the important competitive exams. This dates comes. He was born on 11 September 1862 in Greensboro, North Carolina, United States. He was born in the United States, in the North Carolina state, and the particular place was Greensboro. And he died where? He died in the Newark. On what date? 5th June 1910. Then let us continue. Here we go. Now let us continue. So my dear children, so first I will now see the significance of the introduction. Means we will see the synopsis. Synopsis of the lesson. So when we read a particular story, then certainly there will be some character, and this character will reveal themselves or they will express themselves. How they will express themselves? Through their talk, through their speech, and through their activity. Here also we will see some major character and some minor character too. How many characters are there? Character number one is Johnsy, Johnsy. Number two is Sue. It is pronounced as Sue. Number three is Behrman, Berham. Number four is the doctor. Doctor is unnamed. So these are two characters. Are the young artists, and they have taken a rented house in the third story. In the third story or the last story of a old building, and they have made it a studio, and that the studio is mean for the artistic work, and they were pursuing the artistic work. At that time, what happened, my dear children, as now the whole globe or the whole world is suffering from what? It is suffering from pandemic. What is the name of the pandemic? It is COVID-19. COVID-19 it is suffering from. Similarly, in the first half of the 20th century, when this lesson was published, it was published in the year 1907. It was the first part of the 20th century, and at that time what happened, my dear children, there was an epidemic. Do you know what is epidemic? So this epidemic means what? A kind of a disease. Epidemic is a disease that spreads from man to man. Means it is a contagious disease. What sort of disease? It is a contagious disease. Means it spreads from one person to another. So what sort of disease that was prevalent there? So that the disease that was there was New. Mo. Ni. Yeah. It was pneumonia, not pneumonia. It is pneumonia. So pneumonia is related to what? Lungs. Lungs. Two parts are there. Okay? Two parts of the lungs are there. And when the person is infected with this pneumonia, then what will be there? There will be swell, swelling. Means that there will be swelling, and because of that the person will be suffering. There will be kind of the fever, and it will be accompanied by dizziness. A lot of related ailments are there. So in this story also, in the background, what you see is that it was epidemic disease, and it was spreading everywhere, and finally it came to the particular colony in which our narrator Sue and Johnsy, both of them were living. It was the artist colony. It was the colony of the artist, and this particular epidemic or the disease also touched that colony, and as a result, our Johnsy also was suffering from the same. She was suffering from pneumonia. Now pneumonia, now see my dear children, this is quite interesting. So this pneumonia is personified. Do you know what is the personification? Personification means it is a personified, as if this pneumonia, as if it is a human being, okay, and in the similar manner, it is given the quality of man. Therefore, it is called Mr. Pneumonia. Mr. Pneumonia, because it become very far-reaching. It become very much influencing. It become very much affecting the life. Okay, हर आदमी को ये प्रभावित किया, इसीलिए इसको क्या किया, इसको व्यक्तित्व रूप दिया गया, मतलब personification किया गया. This is a kind of personification of the disease. Now let us see the introduction. So here you go. Let us continue. The Last Leaf is a famous story of O. Henry. It is a sentimental story. Sue and Johnsy were two young artistic friends. They lived together. Once Johnsy fell ill. There was an ivy creeper outside the window. Its leaves are falling. Johnsy had a fancy that she would die when the last leaf on the ivy fell. She was so worried. An old painter named Behrman lived downstairs. He considered the girl like his daughters. Sue told Johnsy's fancy to Behrman. He promised to help her. That night it was snowing. The last leaf also fell. Mr. Behrman worked all night and painted a leaf on the wall. Next morning, Johnsy was surprised to see that there was still a leaf on the ivy. Her will to the leaf returned. Soon she recovered, but old Behrman caught pneumonia and died. Thus, he sacrificed his own life in order to save the life of Johnsy. So this is a brief introduction, my dear children. So from here, you also get to know about the kind of the theme. Okay. So what are the traits of the theme? What are the traits of the theme that you can find here? Okay. So the fiber of the theme. So what is the theme? Theme means the central idea. What is the idea that is described here? So it is the sacrifice that will describe separately. Okay. So it talks about the sacrifice. It talks about the love between the artists. Who are they? Johnsy and Sue. It talks about what death in the form of pneumonia, and because of this pneumonia, the old artist Behrman died. Therefore, this sort of theme, all sort of themes like the theme of love, theme of death, the theme of disease, the theme of sacrifice, all these are described in this short story in a beautiful manner. Thus, The Last Leaf is a short story by O. Henry. It tells the story of an old artist who saved the life of a young artist dying of pneumonia by giving her the will to live. In the process of serving her, the old artist falls ill and dies. Therefore, it talks about to what? The valuable contribution of the art in human's life. How art can inspire life, how art can save life. Okay, this is the kind of the importance, this is the kind of the significance that is given to the art in this lesson. Have you understood, my dear children? Therefore, now it is the time that we go to the full summary in order to understand it better. We will make a thorough discussion of the summary. Here we go. Let's continue. Now here we come to the detailed summary of the lesson, the last leaf. So, my dear children, let us see what does this lesson actually talks about. So, this lesson talks about the supreme sacrifice of an old artist. Now, if somebody is laying down life, आप जानते हैं ना, laying down life. So, who lay down life for the country? कौन करता है? These are the soldiers. The soldiers lay down their life for the cause of the country, and therefore they are called what? They are called the martyr. है ना? Martyr. So, in the similar manner, here also we will see he is not less than martyr. Who? Behrman. The Behrman, that particular artist who laid down his life in order to give or in order to instill the positivity, in order to give the will to live, is not less than a martyrdom. Okay? Therefore, let us continue. Here we go. The last leaf is a story of supreme sacrifice by an old artist. The old artist Behrman paints to keep someone's hope and willpower up. He painted something in order to boost, in order to inspire, because who was very much depressed? Who was depressed? It was Johnsy. Why she was depressed? Because she was suffering. So what is the kind of the disease she was suffering? She was suffering from pneumonia. So what was the kind of damage that is done by pneumonia? Pneumonia become epidemic, and it had a lot of impact on the life of the people. It has already killed many lives. Therefore, she lost the hope, and she was thinking that she is going to die very soon. Then let us continue. The last leaf is a touching story. Touching का मतलब है very moving. Moving का मतलब move नहीं करना, मतलब very much impressive, very much sensational. Okay, very much thrilling. Okay, after reading this particular lesson, we get to know about the kind of the sacrifice, and then we are also moved. Okay, our mind also moved by this kind of the sacrifice. It describes the sacrifice made by an old painter named Behrman. He sacrificed his life to save a young girl's life. Then let us see the background. Let us see the background. Let us see the setting. Now, in the lesson, it is of course not mentioned where this lesson started, but for further study, we get to know that this was the Greenwich village. It was the Greenwich village. It was in the USA, and it was in the Greenwich village that the story is set in, means started. The story started in the Greenwich village. Therefore, let us continue. Greenwich village was situated in the west of Washington Square. So you remember this Washington Square, and it was just west of the square, Washington Square. Which village? We are talking about the Greenwich village. Why we are talking about the Greenwich village? Because it is in this village that our protagonists, our heroes, Johnsy and Sue, they lived This village became a colony of the artists. Here, two younger girls, Sue and Johnsy, also lived. So in this particular village, name of the village was Blues village. Here two artists, two very young artists, Sue and Johnsy, who encounter or meet each other in the restaurant. They meet there, and after finding some similarity in their characteristics, they begin to live together. They had to set up a joint studio on the top floor of a three-story old building. So there is an old building. They could not afford to do the new building, and therefore what they did, they took the top floor of the three-story building, which was old, and they made a studio, and they continued or they used to paint, and in this way they made their humble living. Then let's continue. These girls came from different places, but once they had met and become friends. Now they live like sisters. So these are two girls. One is from California, and other is from outside the USA. They finally meet together and live together, and they live like the sisters. Then let us continue. In the month of November, pneumonia attacked artist colony. So now let us talk about this pneumonia. We are talking about pneumonia. It is very much related to the COVID-19. As now COVID-19 has gripped the whole world. Okay, gripped the whole world means it is under the clutch, under the grab of the COVID, that particular disease. Okay. Now, as it is COVID has attacked the whole world in a similar manner, this also become epidemic. Epidemic. It COVID becomes pandemic. Okay. When it is having the far-reaching influence, it is actually touching the whole part of the globe. It becomes pandemic. Epidemic is stretching or is particularly related to a particular region or a area. Therefore, it is epidemic, and this epidemic we are talking about in the month of November. Pneumonia attacked the artist colonies. So pneumonia is a personification. It is as if a man, it attacked the artist colony as it attacked the other part of the United States of America. In other parts of America also it attacked, and it took away many lives. And now it was the month of November. Winter started, and at the start of the winter, so that there is outbreak or the start of the pneumonia too, and it came to the colony of the artists and attacked our Johnsy. A number of people died. Johnsy also fell ill with the pneumonia. So tried her best to nurse Johnsy. Now, my dear children, so how many of these artists live together? Two artists. One is Sue, other one is Johnsy. They were living together in the last or the third floor of the old building. When they were living, Johnsy was suffering from pneumonia. And what sort of a friend Sue was? Sue was a very close friend, very sympathetic, very kind, very real friend, not the fake one, and therefore took a lot of care of the friend. So what are the kind of the care she took? She called the doctor, she nursed her, she gave her the food, and she also gives a lot of advice so that her mind is diverted from the disease, so that she can take some interest in life, and she takes the willpower and continue living. Therefore, let us continue. The doctor told Sue that Johnson's chances of recovery were very few, means very thin. Very thin means the chance was very less. Why the doctor give this negative recommendation or negative comment? Why this doctor said that no, there is hardly any chance of Johnsy to recover. Why? Because it was seen that Johnsy never had the willpower. She have already made up her mind. Okay, she had already decided in her mind. क्या डिसाइड किया कि वो मरेंगे. कब मरेंगे? जब last leaf of the ivy creeper will fall. As soon as the last leaf of the ivy creeper will fall, she will also die. This is the kind of the thinking. This is the kind of the thinking of the friend. Therefore, as she did not have the willpower, therefore the doctor also had the negative attitude related to the recovery of Johnsy. She had lost the will to live, means she has lost the willpower to live. He advised her to take Johnsy, take interest in life. So that the doctor advised Sue that Sue will have to give the advice to the Johnsy, so that Johnsy take interest in life, so that some willpower comes to her mind and she begin to take interest in life, and then speed of recovery will be more. The speed of recovery will be accelerated. Only then she could be saved. There was an ivy creeper on the back of the wall of the next house. Now let us see. This is a kind of the coincidence. So at the time when she was suffering from the illness, at a time she could notice the ivy creeper. In the beginning of the lesson, we have seen the first slide where there is the ivy creeper, and this ivy creeper, the condition of the ivy creeper was also very weak, very feeble. F-E-E-B-L. Feeble means weak, very weak. Why it was so weak? Because it was at the time of autumn, and therefore leaves were falling. Leaves were falling instantly, and more particularly there was a wind, there was a rain, and there was snowfall also. This also caused the fall of the leaves. Then let us continue. In the cold stormy wind, it's a leaf were falling. So it was the cold stormy night, and the leaves were falling. Therefore let us continue. Now let us see how Johnsy was relating. Okay, Johnsy was relating or linking her disease with the what? With the falling of the leaves. With the falling of the leaves, she compares her disease. What is the kind of the disease? Pneumonia. Therefore, let us see what is the kind of the fancy that our Johnsy had. Johnsy developed a fancy that she would also die when the last leaf fall. Last leaf of the creeper fell down. So what is this fancy? Fancy means what? Fantastic. Fantastic idea. Fantastic means what? Unrealistic. Therefore, she had the unrealistic or imaginative idea. What is the imaginative idea? That she would die when the last leaf of the ivy creeper fall. Now, you tell. So, why that this kind of linking or comparison of one's life with the falling of the leaf, that too during the autumn time when there is a wind and the storm, is correct, is right, is justified? Is it so? No, na? Therefore, let us continue. What does Behrman says? What does the old painter says about that fancy? So came to know of this fancy of Johnsy. So Sue was the friend, and Sue came to know because Johnsy was counting. How she was counting? 5, 4, 3. Okay. Actually, there are how many leaves? Totally 12 leaves were there. And she was telling Sue that when the last leaf falls, then I will die. So therefore she was counting down 12, 11, 10, 9. Like a 2, 1 means when the last leaf will fall, she will also fall, she will also die. This was the kind of the notion or the idea. This was the kind of the fancy or the fantastic idea. Therefore, she told Johnsy that there was no link between the last leaf and her life. Now, the friend, Sue was a very close friend, very fast friend, very good friend of Johnsy, and persuaded or convinced Johnsy that there is no link, there is no obvious link, there is no clear link or relation between your life and the falling of the leaf. But Johnsy did not listen to her. Now Johnsy was very much fixed, है ना, very much fixed. इसके लिए और एक वर्ड है, बहुत appropriate वर्ड है, वो है obsessed, OBSESSED. His mind is very much fixed. His mind is obsessed. His mind is obsessed with what idea? The idea of the date. And this date is related to what? The falling of the leaf. Therefore, her mind was very much fixed, and therefore, whatever degree of persuasion is made, all this persuasion, all this argument, all this suggestion goes in vain. She said that there are 12 leaves left on the creeper. These were falling fast, and she would die when the last one fell. She said that she expected that all leaves would fall into the night. Then she fell asleep. So both of the friends, Sue and Johnsy, were talking, and Johnsy was talking about the falling leaf. 12 number of leaves were there, and it was a stormy night, and it is accompanied by the rain also. There is a probable chance that all the leaf will fall and then she will die. So saying, she went to bed and fell asleep. Then let us see what follows. So now after hearing all this, when the mind was very much fixed, then what happened? Then the friend Sue went to the old painter. The old painter Behrman was just like the father to Sue and Johnsy, and therefore he got very much unhappy. He got annoyed with Johnsy, telling, how can Johnsy become so foolish in linking her own life with the falling of the leaf? Then he was telling that, yes, let me do something, I will do something. So saying, he decided to, he made up his mind to do something. What he does, let us see. After Johnsy had fallen asleep, Sue went downstairs to meet Behrman, an old painter. Behrman was an old painter. He was plus 60. He was past 60, but was a failure in the art. He was not successful in the field of the art because he could not produce any masterpiece or remarkable piece. He was always talking about the masterpiece which he was going to paint. So he was always talking about the masterpiece. Masterpiece means the best of the piece, the classic piece. Masterpiece means classic piece. मैंने सबसे उम्दा, सबसे शेरा, सबसे बढ़िया जो पीस है, masterpiece. He wanted to paint the masterpiece. He was talking, he was planning, he was thinking, but he could not execute, he could not translate the dream. Therefore, sometime opportunity comes in the form of some danger, and this is the kind of the opportunity, and he never failed to take the opportunity. Therefore, but he had never started it. He was a drunkard. He earned a little through his painting. Sue told Behrman about Johnson's fancy. Behrman decided to help her. That night it was raining and snowing heavily. Old Behrman took a ladder and a few colors and went out. He found that all the leaves of the keeper had fallen. Now this is very much surprising that as soon as he went there, Yes, this was a very stormy night. It was a raining. It was a snowing. Therefore, naturally, what will happen? The last leaf fell. Now, you just imagine, had the Behrman not painted this last leaf, then right into the morning, Johnsy will get up and see that last leaf has fallen. Then she will also certainly die because she has already decided in her mind, and she will certainly lose her willpower instantly. But the happenings, but the event took a different turn. Why? Because it was our old painter who painted the last leaf. It was evergreen and it never fell, and it gave a kind of realization into the mind of our Johnsy to revive her interest in life, to take some interest in life and get back to the willpower, and then her recovery rate or the speed of recovery was more or accelerated, and she recovered from the disease called pneumonia. Okay, but what happened? So life is quite ironical. Therefore, the person who saved the life of another person suffering from pneumonia had the attack of pneumonia and then died. Who was that? Behrman. Behrman actually saved the life of whom? Saved the life of Johnsy. And he was attacked by whom? He was attacked by pneumonia. And as a result, what happened? He met his death. Therefore, let us continue. But the painter painted a leaf on the wall. So what is the color? The color of the leaf was. Then the next morning comes. So it is a time for our Johnsy to look at. So she now requested whom? Sue. For what? Just to raise what? Raise the curtain. Raise the curtain or lift the curtain. Lift the curtain. Because she wanted to see through the window of the curtain on the wall opposite to her building, the ivy creeper, to see the condition of the ivy creeper, whether it has fallen or it is still now clinging there. She wanted to see that. Therefore, she requested it to Sue in order to raise the curtain. Let us see what follows. Next morning when Johnsy got up, she looked out of the window. She was surprised to find that the last leaf was still there. She knew that the fierce wind had blown during the night. Still the leaf was there. So she was aware of one thing. ये चीज उनको बहुत अच्छी तरीके से मालूम था. क्या मालूम था? कि there was strong wind. बहुत ज्यादा तूफान आए थे रात में. और तूफान के बावजूद भी लास्ट लीफ फॉल नहीं हुआ. ये जो इवेंट है, this particular event gives the kind of the realization in the mind of our Johnsy. What is the kind of realization? What is the kind of understanding? That it is a great sin to will to die. What is that? It is a great sin to wish or to will to die. That means if you are trying to die, this is a kind of sin. You cannot take your life. You do not have the right to it. Okay, it is a sin. It is a sin. S-I-N. वो भी ना बहुत बड़ा सीन है. कार्डिनल सीन. कार्डिनल माने बहुत बड़ा सीन है. ये अंडरस्टैंडिंग उनको हो गया कि ये बहुत बड़ा गुनाह हम कर रहे हैं. Okay, therefore when this realization comes, then what happened? After that, her attitude also changes. देखिए बच्चों, ये जो ट्रेजिक हीरो होता है ना, ट्रेजिक हीरो में कुछ मिस्टेक होता है ना. ट्रेजिक हीरो में whether it is Hamlet or Macbeth, King Lear or Othello, whatever it is. So whether we are talking about a Hamlet, so he committed some mistake, and because of this mistake he will suffer. And at a point of life, he or the tragic hero will understand what is the mistake was committed by him. And when he understands the mistake, when he realizes that the mistake, then the attitude changes. The event also drastically changes. The plot, the storyline, the theme changes. Therefore, after understanding what happened, now the sad end, the supposed sad end of the story now is taking a very happy note. That means the story is going to have a happy or a comic end. Yuki, now she is taking a lot of interest in the life, and now she begin to get back the will to live, and she is not going to die. And that the doctor also said that yes, now she is out of danger. She realized that it was a sin to the wish to die. Her will to live returned. Her will to live returned. She started recovering. She started to recover. She started to heal the disease, pneumonia. The next day, the doctor said that she was out of danger. That afternoon, that they came to know that the old Behrman had died. That afternoon, it was afternoon time. At a night time, where he went outside. He went to the wall. He took the ladder, and with the help of the ladder and some brush and the paint or the color, he painted on the wall. What he painted? He painted the ivy creeper. He painted the last leaf, and this last leaf is very much symbolic. This is symbolic of life, and this actually gives the inspiration. It gives us the boosting to whom? Boosting to our Johnsy, to give back the willpower. So told Johnsy that he had painted the leaf on the wall when the last leaf fell. He had gone out in the snow and rain in order to paint the last leaf. He had caught a pneumonia and died. This leaf was in fact his masterpiece. So our Behrman laid down his life in order to help, in order to bring back the life and the willpower of a young artist named Johnsy. So in the process he laid down his life, but he also gained something in his death also. What is that? He could paint the masterpiece, because the particular leaf that he painted was his masterpiece, and it inspires the life of Johnsy. So my dear children, this is the detailed summary of the lesson. So it is a time for going to the characters. So we will be going to the character, and then we will see the appropriateness of the title, and after that we will be going to make a review of 10 questions, 10 MCQ questions from the lesson, which will be very literal level, very simple or surface level question. Okay, let us continue. Let us see the characterization. First we will see the character of Behrman. So Behrman is one of the important character. As you have known, he is more than 60-year-old. He is a painter. He was not successful. As a painter. He lived in the ground floor of the house where Sue and Johnsy lived. He had a lifelong dream to paint the master. He told about the condition of Johnsy. Johnsy felt that she would die once the last leaf fell from the ivy creeper. But Behrman thought of a plan to save Johnsy. So he devised a plan. He thought out a plan. He went out into the rainy and stormy night and painted a picture of the leaf on the ivy creeper. Johnsy saw the leaf the next morning and got back her will to live. But Behrman died of pneumonia because he had been out all night in the cold. Thus, Behrman made the supreme sacrifice of giving up his life for the sake of another person, another artist. He was a great soul. He was a great soul, selfless person. In this process, he achieved his ambition of painting the masterpiece. Now let us see another character. So what is that character? So let us see the character. So it is Johnsy. Johnsy is one of the major character. One of the major character. So Johnsy was a young artist who lived with her friend Sue. She fell ill seriously and had pneumonia. She had the fancy idea that she would die once the last leaf of the ivy creeper outside her window and would fall down. That the leaves were falling down very fast, and as the weather was stormy, only the leaf remained. She felt that the last leaf would fall into the night and she would die. But Behrman went out into the cold night and painted the leaf on the wall. Johnsy saw this leaf in the next morning and got back her will to live. But her foolish attitude led to the death of Behrman. She was a weak-hearted woman. Therefore, we can understand that there are many qualities, many negative qualities that there in Johnsy. One is that she was very weak-hearted, very feeble-hearted, very weak-hearted. She did not have the strong willpower. Then let us see the last character, Sue. Sue is one of the very strongest characters. So her strength lies in what? Her strength lies in the love, the caring, the sharing, the sacrificing. All these qualities she had. Sue was a young artist who lived with Johnsy. She tried her best to feel Johnsy better and to help him to get over the illness, but Johnsy would not listen to her. She was adamant. Adamant means what? Obstinate. OBSTINAT. Okay? Obstinate का मतलब क्या है? जिद्दी है. जिद्दी. जो एक बार सोच लिया, that is final. She was adamant. Sue sought the help of Behrman to solve this issue. Behrman solved the problem by painting the last leaf on the wall. So we find that Sue is a true friend of Johnsy. Therefore, so in the character of Sue, we find the theme of friendship. In the character of Behrman, we find the theme of sacrifice and death. So in the character of Johnsy, we find the friendship and the feebleness or the weakness of the character. Therefore now, my dear children, so let us see the MCQ question. Let us make the review of the chapter by asking the very short type question, MCQ question, which are now the trend as per as the latest CBSE guideline. Let us see, these questions are very easy. So there is no criticality, there is no critical faculty needed here, only literal or the direct meaning is needed. But in the exam, some question may be very deeper level question, means value based question. There may be some value based question. That question where you will have to apply your own faculty, own intellect, own wisdom, own knowledge. Let us continue. Who fell seriously ill? Now we will have to presume the answer. Who fell seriously ill? Answer is Johnsy. Many options are there. Option A, Sue. Option B, Johnsy, means option B is correct. Johnsy was suffering from what was the disease? It was neither malaria nor stomach pain, but it was a pneumonia. Number 3, let us see according to the doctor about what had Johnsy made up her mind. So that the doctor came, the doctor was nursing Johnsy. She means she was told by the doctor that she has already decided that Johnsy was already decided that she will not get well. This is the kind of the feeling. So you see to the option number A, she will recover soon. she will recover late. She is not going to do get well. All the above, the answer will be she is not going to get well. This is the answer. What is Johnsy looking at out of the window? What she was looking? She was looking at the ivy creepers. An ivy creeper, correct. Not the rose plant, mango tree, a banyan tree. Then let us see the next. Let us move. Here we move. What is Johnsy counting? What is Johnsy counting? What she was counting? She was counting the leaves under the ivy creeper. This one, A, leaves under the ivy creeper, bunches of fruit under the ivy creeper, none of the above, both A and B. So answer will be leaves on the ivy creepers. What will happen when the last leaf will fall? So we know that it is her fancy, it is the fancy of Johnsy that when the last leaf will fall, she will also die. She has linked her life with the falling of the last leaf. Therefore, the answer, she will die, Behrman will die, Johnsy will die, all the above. Answer will be Johnsy will die. What is she doing in Johnsy's room? What is she? She means Sue. What is Sue doing? Sue was doing what? She was painting, isn't it? Reading a book, stitching a shirt, singing a song, making a painting. Painting of the marina. Painting of the mariner or the sailor. Painting of the sailor. Number next, why was she making a painting? Who was making? Sue was making the painting. Where she was making? She was making in the room of Johnsy. Why she was making? She was making it to support both of them. Therefore, see the answer. To present it to Johnsy, to earn some money, to present it to Behrman, to put it in in a room. Answer will be to earn some money. To earn some money. Now let us see the next question. Let us see the next question number 9. Question number 9. Who was the Behrman? Behrman was a painter, a doctor, and a musician, a teacher. What will be the answer? So that the answer will certainly be a painter. A painter. Who painted the last leaf on the wall? It is Behrman, not Sue, neither Johnsy. It is Behrman. What will happen when the last leaf will fall? The answer will be Johnsy will die. Johnsy will not recover. Nothing extraordinary will happen. Okay. Last question. Who has looked after Johnsy so well? Who has looked after? It is Sue. It is Sue. Correct. Not Behrman, not Johnsy's mother, not Johnsy's father. Therefore, my dear children, I suppose your understanding of this lesson is complete. So, my sincere suggestion now is that you go through the lesson, you underline the important word, unfamiliar word, you write this uncommon word, write their meaning, write the question from the text, write some extract of this question, and then your understanding, your learning of this lesson will be suffice, will be complete. With this hope, let me conclude. Thanks to all of you. Thanks for your listening. We will meet you very soon. With that, let us conclude. Once again, thank you. Thank you very much.